Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. I'm privileged to stand and take this call to support the second reading of the New Zealand Mission Trust Otamataha Empowerment Bill. I want to acknowledge a co-leader and member for Waiariki for the Māori Party Te Ururua level. I want to thank you for bringing this bill through and shepherding it through the second reading and through to the third reading, no doubt. I want to stand here because I wasn't here when this bill was read, had its first reading. I came into the committee at the beginning of this year and have been privileged to hear the submissions from the whānau of Ngāti Tapu and Ngai Tamaraha Waho. And this bill, it does return the land, this highly significant land, to the hapu. And I want to reiterate that according to the hapu, the bill re-establishes their connection to the water. Now, the water is a key component of who we are as Māori. It is not only something that we drink in and replenish our body with, but we cleanse ourselves with it spiritually as well. And it is very key. I have been privileged to be part of the Māori traditional healing groups in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and we use the power of the water as significant to us. And so it is really key that the hapu acknowledge that this bill does re-establish them to the connection of the water. It also provides income to the hapu to finance other activities that they can get involved in. Now, we all know about the dashboard that was released just recently to do with Māori business. We're looking at a Māori economy of growing $38 billion to this country. And it is all congratulations to the National Party for allowing that to happen in the claims process. It is a great feat for all iwi to be able to participate, but especially for this hapu. And it also marks the 150-year anniversary of Gate Pa, which happened on the 29th of April. Very significant for the hapu. I just want to talk a little bit about the missionary history, because you're looking at somebody who is christened Rātana, who was a Sunday school participant of a Methodist church in local Rangiwahia in the Manawatu, and who was sent to an Anglican boarding school. And, you know, when you start looking at that, I must be just about one of the holiest people in this room. No. And so, you know, when you start looking at that, and back then when you're young, you think, oh, well, that's great to go to Sunday school, and, you know, it's fun, and we go off to camp. But when I start to look at the history of how missionaries came to New Zealand, you know, back when in 1814, when Samuel Marsden brought them, and even further back than that, 1799, when the Society of Missions in Africa and the East was founded. And when I start to look at that, I think of the long history it has taken to get to Aotearoa, New Zealand. And then I hear things about, you know, the church missionary being established in 1835, then in 1867, the Crown acquiring 4/5 of the land. And I read about, it says, was transferred from the Church Missionary Society to the New Zealand Mission Trust Board in 1896, this land, which held the assets of the board on trust for spiritual benefit and spiritual instruction of Māori people in the North Island of New Zealand, or failing that, the evangelisation of heathen races in any part of the world. I just want to talk a little bit about that, because this is a discussion that I had with my father before he passed away in 1997. And we talked a little bit about that, because my father was deeply religious. And I said to him, you know, Dad, you know, for Māori we had our demigods, you know, and our history and our stories. and we start looking at Papa Tuanuku, and we start looking at all of those gods that made us who we are. And so the transition that we have made through to Christianity has been quite an amazing transition for Māori. It has been amazing in the fact that we have still been able to hold on to the very crux of who we are as a Māori culture in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So we used to have these little discussions, and I'm sure that he used to get a bit brassed with me for challenging everything, but that's what children are there for, isn't it? In 1996, I'm going to reiterate this, the New Zealand Mission Trust Board handed back the control of the land to new trustees appointed by Ngāti Tapu and Ngai Tamara Waho. And, this was done in recognition of the manner and process by which the land was originally acquired from tangata whenua. The square meterage, 7,863 square metres on the waterfront, the site of the Trinity Wharf, where the Trinity Wharf Hotel sits. Even though the Trust does collect ground rent from the hotel soon they will be able to participate much more than that. So I see, Mr. Speaker, that we are, as Māori people, as a iwi, these two hapu have been very, very, I'm not going to say fortunate, what I'm going to say has been working very, very hard to get this stage in their claims process. And I take my hat off to them, because it isn't easy. It isn't easy to place your history in front of people and to bring it into, to get the minister here, to bring it through, and then to sit and explain it to all of us in the select committee. A select committee that is very collegial, a select committee that has a chair, as Mecca has said, as the previous members have said. He does crack the whip and he does get the work done and gets us all into a mode where we are all agreeing to move these through. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that the committee has done well in being able to get this far. We're a hard-working committee, and I thank everybody in the committee for the work that they do. I want to talk a little bit about Ngāi Tūkairangi. Mr. Speaker, Ngāi Tūkairangi, they came and put their submission to us, and it was very compelling for us to listen to their kōrero, their history of where they saw themselves in this. And it was so compelling that the Otamataha Trust Deed was amended by the New Zealand Mission Trust to allow Ngāi Tūkairangi members to benefit from the Otamataha Trust through whakapapa. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, whakapapa is deep and it is so historical, and nothing breaks whakapapa. And that is why, as I stand here today, I am very proud to be commending this bill to the House and look forward to the next part of this process. Kia ora.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Great